name is John D. Van Fleet, and this is Shanghai Jiao Tong University, where I've been working for almost 20 years now. I'm Director of Corporate Globalization. I'm also adjunct faculty. And one of my subjects as an adjunct faculty is about China's macroeconomic rise over the course of the past 40 plus years. One thing in particular that's caught my attention and my imagination over all these years is the level of innovation that I'm seeing from Chinese enterprises. And I see that these Chinese enterprises are not just innovating here in China, but they're taking these innovations to the global stage. They're becoming innovation pioneers globally. That's pretty interesting to see. When I first came here 20 years ago, China was at a much earlier stage of development. But I started to notice about 15 years ago that the shift was beginning to happen. The Chinese companies were moving from just an adoption phase to an innovation phase. I think the first one I noticed was in e-commerce. And I particularly noticed that when Taobao chased eBay out of China back about 15 years ago. That was really interesting because one of the reasons that seemed to happen is because Taobao reasonably had a better sense of what the Chinese consumer wanted in e-commerce. Taobao was louder, it was more colorful, it was brighter, it was more active. I love shopping online, and Taobao is one of the easiest platforms, and I bought this hat on Taobao. I can find everything there. So Taobao basically innovated its way to a leadership position, first in China and now globally in e-commerce. And of course, another major component of that was Alipay. The e-commerce apps here, this is pretty well known globally, have now created an entire ecosystem unto themselves where you can live your entire life from selection to decision to payment to delivery, all within the app, to a degree that's not possible overseas. So about 7 years ago, I noticed something else that's really interesting to me, and that is an evolution in the smartphone market here. Before that time, all the smartphones here were foreign. Nokia, Samsung, even Motorola. But starting about 7 years ago, the local brands started to capture share. And they were doing that by innovating on price, on applications, on service, on delivery. And now, 4 of the top 5 smartphone brands in China are local. Oppo, Vivo, Xiaomi, Honor, Huawei. The only one left of the foreigners is Apple. So when the largest smartphone market in the world is utterly dominated by Chinese players, and there's something else really happening about China's leadership and dominance of smartphone in China, and that is that it's a perfect synergistic combination with China's enterprises' leaderships in e-commerce. Those two work off of each other. And what that means is that you've got an environment here where nearly 1 billion people are doing their shopping entirely online and paying by mobile phone. That's powerful. So the third innovation, and this is a bit more recent than the other two, but you can really see it out here on the streets every day, is the advent of the electric vehicle market in China. This is now the largest EV market in the world. 50% of global sales are here in China. The entire ecosystem for EV is developing here more powerfully than anywhere else. The cars are being made here not just by Chinese makers like BYD, but by Tesla. Tesla's here for a reason. This is the best EV manufacturing ecosystem on the planet. You know, there's something else interesting about EV, and you see it every time you get into one. What you notice is the screen. It's like a giant smartphone screen right there in front of you. The intersection between EV and smartphone is really interesting and getting stronger. 2021, the Harvard Business Review, of all publications, ran a feature article called China's Innovation Advantage. And you're seeing more and more the leading business and economic journals around the world are noticing what Chinese enterprises have been doing here for many years and are continuing to do, and the way that that's starting to transform the world socioeconomic environment. There are hundreds of millions of people here who are truly consumers in a global sense. They have discretionary income, and they're making economic decisions for themselves and for their families. And as a result, Chinese enterprises are innovating based on market signals in a way that is becoming more and more powerful. This is a remarkable thing to watch happen. My research subject at the college is first time in history because what's happening here at this scale has never before happened in human history. And I have a front row seat for it. And I feel pretty lucky about that. Actually, I have season tickets for China for more than 20 years now, and I hope to keep renewing those season tickets for many years to come. Because what's been happening in China, actually since 1978, but clearly in the past 20 years, is truly a first time in history phenomenon. So I hope the whole world, not just my family and friends in the United States, but all over the world, will pay more attention to the innovation and entrepreneurship that's happening right here in China, has been for many years, and is doing nothing but growing. Because that power, that innovation, that entrepreneurship on the part of Chinese enterprises and Chinese individuals is changing the world for the better. And again, I'm very fortunate to be here and have a front row seat to watch it happening. Thank you.